What up, everyone? The Drama Club strikes again. On this week's episode, we talk about Lea Michele and her drama at Glee, Lady G, Gabrielle Union versus America's Got Talent, and then May tells the story of Old Dirty Bastard and the Wu-Tang Clan. So if you owe Dirty some money, I think y'all should give him his money. Let's start the show.
What up, fam? What up, fam? It's good, y'all. Feels good, right? Good, right? Yeah, I know it, dude. And without further ado, we broadcasting live from CA to NY.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
Did you watch Lucy in the Sky?
No, I didn't. I watched Real Housewives. Because I'm like, I don't know. I'm interested in it because obviously I'm interested in that story.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's Natalie Portman, it's John
Yeah.
Hamm. But it got horrible reviews, and then you confirmed it's not good. So
The problem, I think, is that it either should have been like a very taut thriller, sort of like just very introspective, very serious movie, or a very campy, ridiculous movie.
right,
And it's
right.
it leans,
Neither?
It's neither, and it's not even in the middle. It leans towards being serious, which is like
Ooh.
that's it's not enough. Like it didn't do
Yeah,
enough. But the cinematography and stuff is very beautiful,
I'm sure. I believe that.
and John Hamm is beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Like
We
now
should have made that movie.
I want to see the Lifetime version of it. Like they need to
Oh,
make
yeah.
a Lifetime movie of that.
That sounds perfect.
That's what
I'll
we
watch
need.
that. Without hesitation.
Yeah.
The other reason I hesitate is because I think it's like 2 hours something.
It didn't feel long to me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get around to it.
Yeah, it's not important.
Yeah, it's not important to me.
I watched the Downton Abbey movie. Don't watch that shit.
No,
Nah.
really?
It's like another
long
episode. It's a
episode?
long episode of Downton.
Yeah,
We didn't need it.
That's how those feel.
Yeah.
Like the first Sex and the City movie I thought was good.
Yeah, I love the first Sex and the City
And
movie.
then the second one is like the worst trash.
There was a second one?
Wu-Tang don't be fucking with nobody.
So Lea Michele.
Ooh, I love this story.
So I know years ago Naya Rivera had a problem with her, and that's true. And that kind of went under the radar
But
for whatever reason.
Was that Naya Rivera thing, was it like shady subtweeting type shit, or did she straight up say Lea Michele is a bitch?
No, they were like shading each other kind of.
Okay.
So it looks like it's Amber Riley,
Mm-hmm.
who again, yeah, I never watched the show either.
But you know
But
what? I saw a little video of her performing.
She sings and stuff because
Yeah.
they have to, right?
Yeah. And she's, oh my God, this girl is so fucking talented. Like she can
I
sing
believe it.
like nobody's
Yeah.
business. She was dancing. So then somebody posted, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Oh, well, people were, she posted her personal experience with Lea Michele. And then in response, somebody posted this video of her performing underneath it. And they were like, oh, no wonder she was threatened.
Yeah,
Because
of
like
course.
she's so fucking good.
Okay, so what happened was Lea Michele, like a lot of celebrities this week, tweeted her support for the Black Lives Matter movement and the protesters and everything. And in response, Amber Riley, who's a black actress who worked on Glee, said, "Remember when you made my life a living hell and like made me reconsider even being in this industry," pretty much. And then after that, all hell's broke loose.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Like everybody started coming forward saying Lea Michele was awful and
Yep.
like really terrible to work with.
and that, the crew knows it. The cast knows it.
That she would call backup singers something awful. Didn't I send you that tweet? Roaches, yeah. And that she had like treated an extra really badly until she found out that it was Barbara Streisand's niece. Oh,
You fucked up.
you fucked up big time. Which is super interesting because I was telling May, I actually like saw Lea Michele in a commercial, and I'm sure if anybody has Hulu or whatever, they know what commercial I'm talking about. The one where it's like an app that helps you plan parties. And she's like, she's in that commercial saying that she used this app for her wedding, which is very interesting to me. And I would think like, what happened to her? Because she was so hot for a second and Glee was really hot for a second. And now it kind of, the puzzle pieces are kind of coming together for me. It sounds like she's just difficult to work with.
Yeah. I feel like I was always kind of neutral on her just because I haven't been paying attention to her, but I feel like even now that I'm just taking a slightly closer look, like if I had stopped to think about it for more than a second, I feel like I would have leaned towards not liking her for not for a particular reason, just like, I don't know, vibes.
There's something about her. Sometimes you get vibes. Yeah. I feel that way about people all the time.
And she was the one whose boyfriend overdosed, right? Or fiance or something?
Yes. Glee has problematic cast.
Yep, we gotta do a Glee episode.
I know, because that one guy.
And another thing that I was thinking about, Glee, I don't understand why I didn't watch the show, because it sounds cool if you have a show where each week you can tune in and see your favorite actors singing and dancing. That sounds great.
Right.
But I wonder why I wasn't into this show. Maybe because it's set in a high school or something.
Yeah, because it seemed corny, man.
Yeah.
The whole thing seemed corny, besides Jane Lynch. It's just like, the fuck? I don't know. It seemed like it was too close also to High School Musical.
Yeah,
where
probably.
you just kind of see it all together and you're like, that's not for me.
Right, that's true.
Okay, then we have some other nonsense. This dude, Jake Paul, I know who he is. He's a YouTuber, and you probably have all heard of him because he has a lot of scandals.
Every time I've heard of him, it's because of a scandal.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and me too. I don't really know what his YouTube videos pertain to at all. But anyway, so he's problematic. He was seen looting at a Scottsdale fashion mall, and like via video, like somebody had taken a video during like the early days of the protests. Then he was identified as being there, and he made a public statement saying he and his crew were not looting, they were just protesting, because like same thing we've heard from all celebrities, he's on the side of the Black Lives Matter movement and all this stuff. But he's just not a credible dude. Like I said, he's super problematic. So then on Thursday, he was charged with criminal trespassing and unlawful assembly. You love to see it.
I'm here for it.
Love to see it.
He just seems like a troublemaker. You know?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean,
fucking Dennis the Menace ass motherfucker.
Yes,
like, what the fuck?
Like a little, yeah, exactly. A little rebel ass bitch. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. Like, some celebrities, obviously, you see them make these statements and you know they're about it. They're really about it. Others, I think it's like
photogram.
They know they know it's in their best interest to be making those statements at this time. He's definitely one of those.
Same with a lot of corporations too.
Oh yeah.
You're really gonna come out like 6 days after this shit started and be like, upon review of the current situation, we stand with Black Lives.
Yeah.
That shit. I will say though, did you see Ben and Jerry's statement? Dude, they wrote a whole fucking manifesto.
Ben and Jerry's was like, you ain't gotta become about it if you always been about it, baby. Some of the best people on earth.
Bang Bang Cherry Garcia
gang. Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
I also like the Stephen Colbert one, Americone Dream.
Americone Dream. Yeah, that one slaps. I like Fish Food. I like
Which one is Fish Food? What is that?
It has marshmallow.
Yup.
I don't remember what the fuck else.
I'm with it.
I like Chunky Monkey, which is like banana flavored ice cream with banana and chocolate in it. Yeah. Yeah, we stand Ben and Jerry.
Hell yeah, they've been about it for.
They have been about it. That's what I'm saying. Like there's a statement where you're like, yes, we know.
Yep. List of demands.
Yep.
Making donations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. Like, don't like these blanket statements and then like we're gonna donate money to fight racial injustice. Okay. Like, can you be more specific?
What does that mean exactly?
I know. So I did actually like Legoland's statement because they were like,
fuck
okay,
the
we
police.
stand. Yeah. They were like, we stand with everybody. We're gonna stop selling like the police Lego kits.
I love that.
I like that too. And then they were like, we're gonna donate $4 million to teach children about racial injustice and like to these specific organizations. I was like, perfect. See, that's how it should be.
I love that. I do think this came to mind this week for me for the first time after the Lego thing, that we do from a very young age, with toys, and then later on with just like our entertainment. How many cop shows are there? You know, like
Yeah, I've seen that going around
we
the
do
interwebs.
really glorify this profession in a way that we don't see with other professions.
No, like teachers.
Yeah, right.
You don't see teacher shows like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
It's weird.
odd.
It's like very
Yeah.
culty and like propaganda.
Yeah. I saw all the stuff about Brooklyn Nine-Nine because a lot of people like that show, and they were like, nobody would ask any questions if next season they worked at like a post office. You know?
That's funny.
Yeah.
They should do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's smart, I think. There is no shows about post offices, are there?
No. Mm-mm.
See, we got to have a USPS.
It would be funny to have a The Office type show, I think, about the post office.
Yeah,
That
that's
would
like
be
as
funny.
close as you're going to get,
Yeah.
paper company.
Or like Reno 911. That's not a show I've ever watched, but every time I see a clip of it, it's really funny.
I always fucking die laughing. What's the black actress's name?
Niecy Nash.
She's fucking hilarious.
Underrated actress, hilarious. So,
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm a super fan of hers. Dramatic.
Yeah.
When she does drama too, she's like really, really great.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, she was just in that Netflix movie I watched about the
wine.
sommelier.
Yeah.
What is that one called? She was in Selma.
She was? I don't
Forgot
remember
about
Selma.
that. Yeah.
She was on the show, this HBO show I liked, Getting On.
Ooh, I never seen that.
It's so good. It's
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of like a dramedy set in a hospital. It's all
okay.
They're like half-hour episodes, and there's only like 2 or 3 seasons. You should watch it.
That's another one that like we glorify in TV is like doctors, nurses.
Oh yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Lawyers too.
Yeah. Those are all the types of shows. There's rarely a show that's not about
A different profession? Yeah, that's true. That's so weird. The fuck? Let's make a show about carpenters. That's on HGTV. I'm looking at you, HGTV.
Too many splinters. Nah.
That's true. They gotta talk about FIHA and shit. This is gonna get boring.
Another celebrity that kind of stepped in it this week was Stephanie Pratt, who is
Spencer Pratt's sister.
Yeah, I had the name in my head. Spencer Pratt's sister said when
And they're from the show The Hills, just for
okay.
anybody listening.
That was for me because I didn't know.
I know you didn't.
She said when the shooting starts, like she was like, shoot those motherfuckers, basically.
Oh, like what Trumpito said?
Yeah. And then she started getting dragged because she was arrested for shoplifting.
Also, she doesn't live in the U.S., I don't think.
She doesn't?
No,
That's
I
funny.
think she lives in the U.K.
Wow. She got arrested for like $1,700 with like stealing $1,700 worth of merchandise or some shit
Where?
at like a Neiman Marcus or something
God
in
damn.
Hawaii.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird, man. She should just shut the fuck
She
up.
should have shut the, and then everybody was posting her fucking mugshot and shit.
Yeah, like what did you think? You idiot.
Yeah.
So did you hear about the LA Galaxy dude, Aleksandar
Hell yeah. And
Katai?
his fucking
Wife?
wife, Taya.
Yeah, so Tea Katai posted on her Instagram really disgusting, horrible things about the protesters. I don't want to say it, but basically like to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
I think
like,
you could say it. She said, kill the shits.
Yeah, she said kill the shits and like run over the something else, some other really racist, derogatory term.
Mm-hmm.
She got hella backlash, instantly made her Instagram private. Everybody started like posting it everywhere. Aleksandar then made a statement on his own Instagram saying he doesn't condone what his wife said. They're learning and all this shit. I'm sorry, but if you're coming from where she was coming from, you have a long way to go.
Right.
We're not
Yeah.
talking about learning. We're
Yeah.
talking about like she's got to change all of herself.
Yeah. Yeah. It comes from deep inside of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like hateful racism.
You're hateful. You don't, and I don't know that you can unlearn, or maybe you can unlearn hate.
But you got to change your whole ass personality.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
You need
like,
therapy.
yeah. Fuck. And so, yeah, Galaxy relieved him of his contract.
And I love the statement that the Galaxy put out because it was like on the Galaxy letterhead.
Yeah, it was on Galaxy letterhead. Yeah.
And it basically, it was literally one sentence. I don't have it, but I remember it being just like,
It was like, bye.
bye. Yeah. It was like the Michael Jordan where he was like, I'm back. When he sent that fax, it was like, I'm back. It was like that. It was like, he out.
Yeah, like we don't fucking need you. You know how many
Right.
soccer players are trying to be on LA Galaxy?
And
That's good. I'm glad for that.
I do think it's wild though, because it was not him.
His
It
wife?
was his wife. I mean, I agree with it. Don't get me wrong. I agree with it because you think that he just found out that his wife thought that way today?
No,
You know?
he thinks that way too. That's
Yeah.
why they're married.
Yeah, of course.
Or he don't care about how she thinks because she's just a little trophy, which is a whole nother slew of problems.
right.
So
I'm just shocked that they took very swift and
yeah,
decisive action with this.
yeah. I'm glad for it. I was thinking though, like, ooh, I wonder how that household is right now. You know, they're like going through it.
He's sleeping in the guest bedroom.
He's probably so fucking mad at her.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Because she thought she was being slick because she was saying it in Serbian.
Yeah. The fuck? Like, we don't have Google Translate.
Exactly. Like, we don't watch 90 Day Fiancé, everybody using Google Translate every day.
Seriously. She's just a little dumb. I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous.
My girl Kiki Palmer in the streets
Yeah.
making speeches at the cops.
Yeah. I love it's true. Like, I just love how she talks.
Yes. And every time, I feel like I just learned of her existence last year, but every single time I see her, I love her more and more and more. I stand her.
She's very wholesome.
Yes.
Which is weird. Because she was like, you know, drugging people and stealing in that movie Hustlers that she was in. So.
She pops up on some commercial, probably like you said, like on Hulu, where it's like for
The only place we probably see commercials.
right, for like a body wash or something. And I'm like, now every time I see it, I'm like, I want to buy that body wash.
I need to wash my body. Bye. Love you.
Bye, May. Bye, Hoel.
She said.
So here's a free tip for racists. If you were racist, just be quiet, right? Because it's gonna affect your bag. Like, why would you be so loud about it?
Did you see that fucking tweet going viral from this stupid ass bitch that said calling out racists is the new witch hunting?
Okay, newsflash: witches don't exist. Racists do.
Somebody said, I think it might have been Speak who was like, "Bitch, witches are real." The fuck? Also, Gabrielle Union filed a complaint against America's Got Talent and NBC.
Because you know NBC probably made a fucking statement that Black Lives Matter or whatever.
I'm sure it was something like that in response to that discrimination. Well, she says she said she experienced harassment, retaliation, and discrimination
Yeah, okay.
for speaking out against her, like all the problems she had. First, it was like Simon Cowell smoking inside, right?
yeah.
And she was like, "Can you fucking smoke outside?"
Yeah.
And he wouldn't, which is against the law.
Yeah.
And then she had a problem with regard to a particular contestant, a black contestant, which she felt was unfairly, because I think Simon Cowell said something like America's not ready for that or some bullshit.
Yeah.
She also said that it's a toxic work environment because Jay Leno made racist jokes.
Yeah.
And
her hair.
Oh, her hair. Yeah, she was like told to tone down her hair or her blackness or something.
Yeah,
like
they
that.
said her hair was too black. The hairstyles she was choosing were too black.
Newsflash, I'm black. What kind of fucking ridiculous,
it's ridiculous.
shit is
And then
that?
NBC has the nerve to be like, Black Lives Matter. We stand behind like...
Dude, y'all know how we feel about NBC on this show.
Yep.
NBC is shady.
They do have my favorite shows of all time, though, so...
A lot of mine, too. A lot of mine, too. Fucking Peacock. Also, with this story, I'm super disappointed. Not that I expect much of her, but super disappointed in that white girl, Julianne Hough.
Yeah.
Because I think at one point, Gabrielle kind of like extended like some sort of an opening for her to talk about her experiences on the show. And she said like, I love NBC and I hope I continue my working relationship with them.
Because she has a show and develop it with them, like a show of her own. So
yeah, like she couldn't stand on the side of Gabrielle. Like, you know, Gabrielle said that shit because she knows that something went down with Julianne too,
Yeah.
or she was probably hushed. And that's bullshit. But I don't expect much from somebody who did fucking blackface for Halloween. I haven't forgotten.
More and more, I'm liking Gabrielle Union and her family because I love the way her and T. Wade stand behind their daughter who's trans and gets like a lot of hate. Like every time they even post like a photo of her or something.
I would imagine a trans black woman is the most discriminated against women 100%. In America.
Like they'll post a photo of her or call her by her chosen name, and people underneath will just be like, that's a man, get mental help or something. Like it's disgusting.
And this is like a very wealthy, famous parent trans black woman. That's fucked up. Yeah, I do like that about them too. Especially coming from a black athlete, because it's such a misogynist position to be in. And so it's great to see him do that. That's also why I liked, what's his face? Fucking Golden State. Because he was like, well, I'm like a corny nerd, but...
Steph Curry?
Yeah. Yeah, I do like that. Like, fucking just crush that image of like what we think black athletes... Also like black rappers.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, like that shit needs to go away. Not black rappers, just like the...
Right. The image that they are supposed
misogynist, like womanizing, like financially irresponsible, all those things, like, you know.
She's just wild. She's just crazy and shit.
Lady Graham.
Oh.
And I oop. Okay, so Lindsey Graham has been trending. By now, it will have been last week when you guys listen to this episode. But basically, it all started by this man on Twitter, Sean Harding, who is a porn star, a gay porn star. He tweeted kind of in the like the way that like what's his face talks, Tea?
Oh, like a blind. Yeah.
Yeah, he said there's a homophobic Republican senator who is no better than Trump, who keeps passing legislation damaging to the LGBTQ communities. Every sex worker I know has been hired by this man, wondering if enough of us could speak out. And there have always been rumors about Graham being gay.
Yeah.
So then this sparked, a ton of people coming out saying that they had been hired by him and that he goes by Lady G.
Yeah. First of all, I love that. Okay, so he tweeted that like kind of vaguely. And there was immediately no discussion about who it could have been. It was...
So, of course, this is true.
Everyone knew who it was.
Yeah. And he has a nickname, which is great.
Yeah. That's
love a nickname.
That's his chosen nickname. That's what he chose to be his alias on the NDAs, apparently.
Yeah, which I wonder if somebody could talk to us about this, because I did see Billy Eichner kind of upset at the use of lady in like this kind of...
Oh, he said that he was uncomfortable with the way some straight men were using it.
Oh, okay.
Like they were kind of like, oh,
as
lady.
like a gay slur.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So obviously this is gigantic. Like Lindsey Graham is super. He's part of the GOP. They're super anti-LGBTQ. Yep. He obviously has an awful record with regard to his vote on LGBTQ issues, and then. He's at least fluid. Like, I mean, I don't know, So I don't want to define anyone's sexuality for them, but if you're having sex with men and you're a man,
that sounds gay to me.
Yeah, so, I mean,
fellas, is it gay to have sex with a man?
I love those tweets. And then the other huge thing that people are like kind of also pushing this as most likely true is that at one point Lindsey was a huge Trump critic. When he first started his presidential campaign, he talked mad shit about Donald Trump and how this was going to be a disaster and all this stuff. But once Trump became president, he completely flip-flopped and has become one of his most outspoken supporters. And so a lot of people are like, why? Other than the fact that he's just Republican and they all stand for each other, whether
they fall
or not
in line.
They're very ride or die. Yeah, a lot of people have said that Trump and or Russia have information about his personal life and have been holding that over his head as a way to get his continued support.
That
basically.
is very interesting to me.
Me too.
Because it makes so much sense.
Of it, that's why I'm saying like this is so true. Like
there's no reason why, if this is such an open secret, especially in DC, it seems like all the people around DC, but just know this.
Accept this as fact.
There's no reason why Russia wouldn't have used this against him in some way.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause we know how Russia be.
And if you remember during the Kavanaugh hearings, Lindsey Graham was like all hot and red, voicing his disgust at like Mr. Kavanaugh having to defend his nomination to get the Supreme Court justice seat. Whew. It's a man that I would love to see be taken down, May.
Me too. Because of specifically this, the flip-flop, like, you know how dangerous this man is. And now you're doing everything. You're speaking with your chest to support him and keep him propped up, knowing what he is, knowing how evil he is,
knowing how bad he is for this country.
Yeah. So let's go. Let's take him down.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Ooh, that's one. Ooh. I wasn't expecting this, but I appreciate it.
Also, I love a blackmail story.
I do.
Give me more blackmail stories.
Yeah, we've told a bunch of them on the show. These politicians, man, that do like the red politicians. Why do you do this? Why do you hate yourself?
Yeah, I know.
Like, what is that? And don't you? I mean, like, you hate yourself because of the environment you grew up in, and like they made you hate yourself. Wouldn't you want to fight against that very fucking environment instead of become a part of it?
Right? Don't you want to protect other people from that same shit?
Yeah, you want them to live the secret, like, ashamed life that you live. Like, for what reason? You don't have to live that life. The world is better than this. The world could be better than this.
Yeah, exactly.
These motherfuckers.
Let's do Mitch McConnell next.
Ooh.
It doesn't have to be a gay thing. It could be like whatever. Let's just find something on him. Russia, if you're listening.
Oh, you know we're on FBI's watch list because of this fucking podcast. Can't be calling out Russia.
Dirty came from the street. Dirty ain't had nothing. You know, let him tell you his story and you know what it's about.
Well, hello guys. Welcome to the Drama Club. My name is May.
And my name is Stephanie. This is the podcast about scandals, gossip, celebrities, drama, biographies.
All of that.
Music, sport. My brother clowned on the blurb we said at last episode regarding the Jordans and Tinker Hatley. He was like, God damn it, Steph. You didn't even know what number Jordan it was.
Was that important to the story?
Yes, it was to him. He was so mad.
Okay. We got to do it.
Oh, that I didn't even know who the coach was in Oregon that started. Like, he was mad about everything. I was like, dude, chill.
Okay, we got to do an afternoon delight about Victor and all his drama. Let's, Russia, if you're listening, let's hack into his emails. You know, I'm disappointed in myself because it took me. This week was the first time that I downloaded on Apple Music. I go there for you. Anything you want, I will get for you, girl.
Wow. Actually, now that you mention it, me as well. I have never thought, I didn't even realize that was on Apple Music. They're donezo, right?
Are they?
I thought so.
Oh my God. We're gonna find out this week. The tell-all is tomorrow.
I'm so excited. Oh, Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy.
USB Entertainment. HDMI Entertainment.
Hey, that's okay. Wait, but do you see he has 3 songs on there? What are the other 2?
Connect and Woman. I love you, Connect.
Okay,
Woman.
wait. Connect. Listen to that song real quick because that song low key slaps.
You say, don't play no.
That slaps.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. Okay, Soulja Boy.
USB Entertainment.
That's wild.
That's the hottest rapper in Nigeria, y'all, in case you didn't know.
Yup.
Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy, tell him.
From the slums of Shaolin, Wu-Tang Clan strikes again. The RZA, the Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard, Inspector Deck, Raekwon the Chef. You God, Ghostface Killer, and
METHOD.
Man. Let's tell the story of Old Dirty Bastard, aka Dirt McGirt, aka Big Baby Jesus, aka ODB, with special appearances of the best nuggets of drama from the rest of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Nice.
For this, I watched the 4-part documentary Wu-Tang Clan of Maxx and Men. It's on Showtime.
Mhm.
It's worth a watch if you're a Wu-Tang fan at all, because it really goes into depth and features interviews from every member, including archival footage of ODB. There's a scripted series based on them too, but I didn't watch that because it's fictionalized, but I think it's on Hulu. What I really wanted was a full-blown documentary just on ODB, but that doesn't seem like it's a thing that exists yet. But there are 2 biopics in the works about him, so I'm guessing if and when those come out, we might see something like that come out too. But yeah, let's get started, because like the Fleetwood Mac episode, there's a lot of characters, so we got to get into it.
Nice. I forgot I never thought of, they should do an ODB biopic.
Yeah, you know who's gonna play him in one of the movies? The guy from Boardwalk Empire and The Wire, the guy that has the scar on his face.
Okay.
That guy's a good ass actor.
Yeah, I like actors with scars on their faces. Because I also like this old Irish dude that's in Sons of Anarchy who has a big ass scar on his face.
That does not
It's
sound
like-
familiar.
It instantly makes them seem like, they've been in some shit.
Yeah.
Is it Kurt Sutter? Yeah.
Let me look that up.
It's this old ass dude. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's the screenwriter. Tommy Flanagan.
Ooh, Flanagan.
Yeah, that's a hella. Is this dude?
Oh, that guy? That's not who I was thinking of. Why was I thinking of the dad from Succession?
He's in Sons of Anarchy?
No, I've never seen
Oh.
Sons of Anarchy, but you were like, an Irish actor with like scars on his face, and I was like, like that guy? Because that guy got kind of a pock-marked face.
Sons of Anarchy is not good, but Katie Seagal is
Oh, I love her.
great. And so is Ron Perlman.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know
It's
Ron
alright.
Perlman was in that.
Yeah, he's like one of the main guys. Actually, it is good, but I've never seen what's that one with the meth?
Breaking Bad.
I would imagine it's similar to that, where like what you see is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Like the drama is like they're killing each other and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You ain't gotta think.
All right, so let's go back to the 80s to talk about how this crew of dudes came together in the first place.
Ba-ba-ba-da.
I usually like to give you guys people's real names, but since we're talking about 1 million people in this story, it's going to get too confusing to tell you their government
Yeah,
names and their stage
don't do
names.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
So I'm going to stick with the stage names. So as fate would have it, there were 3 cousins in Brooklyn who loved to create, loved to entertain, and loved hip hop. These kids would eventually take on the names The RZA, The Jizza, and Old Dirty Bastard.
Hell yeah.
I'm always shocked when I find out that super talented people, famous people, are related to each other.
Me too. But then it makes sense also.
Yeah, but like, what are the odds? Like, it makes sense that like a group of kids that were relatives would be talented, but like all of them make it, you know?
Yeah, I also feel that way with like athletes when they're
Oh, totally.
like
Yeah,
Steve and Powell or
yeah.
The Williams sisters. Do you remember this really dope Nike? I'm sorry, May. I'm never gonna let you.
No,
get
go
your
ahead.
Story. Do you remember this really dope Nike commercial from when we were kids that was like lightning never strikes twice? Or like it was like the chances of lightning striking twice are like whatever they put the figure, something fucking crazy. And then it opens with like the Williams sisters. And then it's like, who are those football quarterbacks that also
the
are
Manning
both-
brothers.
Yeah, then it's like them.
Yeah.
Then it was like Stephen Powell. Then it was like some hockey people. But I was always like, oh, that's fucking tight.
I don't remember that, but that sounds like a good ass ad.
That's a Nike ass commercial
yeah.
right there.
Does Nike advertise in-house, or do you know? Or is it like
I
an
don't
in-house
know.
advertising team, or is it fucking Sterling Cooper out there?
I don't know. I have no idea. But their team is fucking great. And it's such like like they created their own brand with their own advertising.
Yeah.
even. Like you could instantly know that
Right.
something's a Nike commercial without the fucking swoosh
Yeah,
at the
it's
end.
true.
Yeah.
So anyway, the guys formed a group called Force of the Imperial Master, aka All In Together Now crew. So let's focus on these 3 individually for a second, because they and their strengths as individuals are extremely important to this story. So RZA, who I've always loved and I always knew was an immense talent as a producer, I just never realized the sheer magnitude of how much of a genius and visionary this dude really is until I sat down to do the research for this. I was literally so fucking shook. You have to remember that these guys were kids. Hip hop didn't exist. And when they were teens, hip hop was, I said, a hip.
Yeah, like that corny ass shit. Yeah, some Carlton ass hip hop.
So the kinds of beats and rhymes that RZA was coming up with, there was no blueprint for that. He invented it. And he saw that his cousin GZA had a gift. GZA also goes by the Genius because he is a literal genius. He's in my top 5 favorite rappers for sure. His album Liquid Swords is probably my favorite hip hop album. So yeah, genius, period. And RZA kind of crafted his beats to showcase what GZA could do, and he borrowed from his style for his own rhymes. RZA also recognized the talent of ODB as an all-around entertainer. He says that when they were kids and they all played together, Dirty would disappear for a few minutes, and next thing you knew, they'd hear uncontrollable laughter from all their moms in the kitchen, and when they went to check it out, it was always inevitably Dirty singing like Marvin Gaye or something like in his really distinct singing style.
Yeah, that's so dope. Ooh, I would pay a lot of money to see Old Dirty Bastard sing Marvin Gaye.
I'm saying, right? And he would just be like dancing and putting on a show for them. Like that's just what he loved to do. So RZA knew that he needed Dirty in the group, and he wrote rhymes for him to say. Dirty said that RZA used to force him to rhyme, and that if he didn't, RZA would beat him up. So the trio would play shows at parties and stuff, and I even saw footage of them on public access TV in New York, but they couldn't get a record deal. So despite them making noise among local fans of hip hop,
I'm sorry, May, how old are they here?
They're like 18, 19.
Okay.
So they're making noise locally. They didn't get a record deal, so they're kind of going nowhere. But then in 1991, both GZA and RZA got individual record deals. But their labels really tried to market them as something that they weren't. For his album, they made RZA into a ladies' man sort of character, rapping about girls and shit, kind of sounding very similar to Humpty Hump.
Huh.
You know, that sort of vibe. Like, yeah. And GZA's album...
I love the Humpty Hump.
But I love the Humpty Hump too, but that's not what...
That's not RZA.
That's not RZA, yeah. And like with GZA, it was something similar, although it showed off that the man could fucking rap. It was similar, like he was rapping about going to parties and shit.
Okay.
So both albums flopped. And that's when RZA was like, you know what? Fuck this. I have a creative vision. I'm not going to let anyone interfere with that vision. I'm going to pull together all the best rappers I know. We're going to rap about shit that we want to rap about. And if that fails, so be it. But at least it was ours.
That's what's up. See? Sometimes you got to fail to get to where you're supposed to be.
That is so fucking true, man.
Yeah, because it's so hard for people to accept failure sometimes. And like people kind of, I think any sort of rejection, it's just hard to deal with.
Of course it's hard and it hurts, but it's so necessary. You learn so much from failure.
Yeah, seriously. Take it in stride. Build the Wu-Tang Clan. I'm going to put that on a pillow.
I'm going to write it on a cookie.
Yeah.
So at RZA's house, it became kind of like a hangout spot.
Oh, that's tight.
Dudes from all over would just come through, and like while RZA was working on beats, guys would freestyle over them just to try to impress and outdo each other.
That's awesome.
Imagine being here, like everybody's just smoking, hanging out.
And that's exactly what Wu-Tang is, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just them all doing it for each other.
Right. So one of those guys was from Staten Island.
Okay.
And he went by the name of Ghostface Killah.
Oh, yeah.
RZA, Ghostface, and Dirty were all super fans of kung fu movies and Eastern philosophy. So...
So awesome.
So naturally, these subjects came up a lot when they were all just like kicking it and they would like watch movies and shit. And when RZA was coming up with the idea for showcasing the best MCs he knew, he tapped into these subjects. According to RZA, Wu-Tang was the best, deadliest sword style that he'd ever seen. So when searching for the best, deadliest MCs, why not name it Wu-Tang?
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
I keep laughing thinking of in that show you made me watch Pen 15,
Uh-huh.
how her brother's always wearing
Woo
Wu-wear.
wear, yes. It's such a sign of the times.
Yeah.
When we would have, like at my school, we wore uniforms, but every once in a while we would have a free dress day. All the boys would for sure be wearing like the quote unquote cool ones would have like Wu wear or rock-a-wear sometimes.
Yeah.
just-
Rockaware was hot.
Yeah. Did they bring it back? They brought it back, right? Or no, they brought back Baby Fat or something.
Baby Fat. Yeah, Baby
at
Fat
Forever
was hot
21.
too. Yeah.
Huh.
That's a smart deal. If that
So
was
smart.
Kimura.
Yeah. So these 4 dudes were. So we're talking about the original 3: Jizza, RZA, ODB, and now Ghostface. These 4 dudes were also 5%ers or members of the 5% Nation, which is kind of an offshoot of the Nation of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
So they had that in common. You know, I've always heard of like 5%ers in hip hop, but I only had like a vague idea of what it was. But I finally looked it up, and it is something. I would encourage our listeners, if you're curious at all, to like look it up because it's interesting.
It's like a New York thing too, right?
It's in big cities. Like they have it in Detroit.
Okay.
Like New York is called Mecca for 5%ers, and like Detroit is called like another like Babylon or like some sort of ancient name like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally get it though, like why young black men, especially coming from where these dudes came from, would get into it. It's got a very empowering message for black men.
Okay. I don't know much about it. I just know that it is kind of like a thing I always hear with hip hop. And it's like black men.
Yeah,
and it's usually like New York black men because I think it's like Jay, Z, the Wu-Tang. Doesn't like Jay Electronica talk about that shit?
It's because they think of it, in it, they say like black men are literal gods. When Wu-Tang talks to each other, sometimes they'll be like, yeah, instead of saying man or something, they'll be like God. So they'll be like, yeah, God, so I was picking up groceries, God. And then like, you know, because they're literal gods. And then they think of women as extensions of the earth. So they're like God and earth.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so you hear a lot of influence of the 5%ers and their teachings, also known as mathematics, in Wu-Tang's lyrics. And that was also revolutionary in music at the time.
Yeah.
So Ghostface was kind of the entry point for the cousins into Staten Island, because remember, they were from Brooklyn. He'd basically known the rest of the dudes in Wu-Tang since they were babies. They all went to school together and lived in the same projects.
It's a fucking island.
Yeah, it's an island.
I love a Staten Island accent. That's just so cool.
I don't. I have a soft spot for a Brooklyn accent.
All the New York accents, honestly, but something about the Staten Island accent is so ratchet. It is. Because I think of this girl in Jersey Shore.
Which one is?
Angelina.
So they're all living in the same projects, and as you can imagine, coming up in these projects was fucking rough. And I don't think it's controversial to say that Staten Island is the most racist of the 5 boroughs.
I would imagine so.
Completely unrelated, but also very related. It's where all the cops live. And especially back then, a lot of the guys were saying that obviously their projects were mostly black and brown people, but when they went to school, that's when they would interact with the white kids, you know, like the sons and daughters of the cops and stuff. And the white kids were often extremely racist. We're talking calling them racial slurs, spitting on them, throwing rocks at them, beating them up, literally everything you can think of. So not only are they living in poverty, but they're also dealing with a highly racialized community. And this is a lot for kids and young men to deal with, which is exactly why I get why they would be attracted to the 5%ers.
Right.
Anyway, just to get by, often to help their own mothers put food on the table, a lot of them ended up hustling and selling drugs. U-God went to prison on drug and gun charges. Inspector Deck went to prison on drug charges. Capadonna went to prison on a slew of charges, and he went away for a long time. That's why he's not on their debut album. Ghostface got shot in the neck while he was hustling. RZA went to trial after shooting someone during a dispute and was facing 8 years in prison, but he was found not guilty.
Ooh, damn.
That trips me out because if RZA gets sent to prison, there's no Wu-Tang, and then
right.
The whole landscape of hip hop changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Ooh, another reason we need prison.
Yeah.
Rehabilitation and education. Imagine all your best friends are going to prison. Do you think that a prison sentence is going to change you? No. Right. It's just like, all right, this is what we're going to do now.
It's like like a rite of passage, like going to college or something. Like, yeah,
exactly.
See you in 4 years.
Yeah, it'd be all right. Ridiculous.
Method Man was moving bricks too, but he never got caught up by the cops.
Interesting.
This might be a good time to bring up that I always forget about this, but I have a huge crush on Method Man.
Oh, I love Method Man. Method Man is the quintessential New York man for me.
Yeah.
He is so fine. He just is like has sex appeal.
Yes. And I don't know what it is because he's extremely not my type, but like as soon as he starts talking,
he's my type.
Like that's my type.
That's my type.
As soon as he starts talking, I'm like, oh shit.
Because he's so confident and just he's
Oh, he's got swag for days.
Chef's kiss. Yeah, he has swag.
And I noticed ever since because we saw all of Wu-Tang at Rock the Bells, and he had like the dopest Gucci backpack. Ever since then, I noticed that literally every time I see him, he has a dope backpack on.
That's tight.
Anyway, so as soon as RZA was released from custody following his trial, he turned everything up to an 11. He was like, it's now or never. Let's fucking do this shit. And that's when things got serious. RZA's brother Divine was also a hustler, but all the money that Divine was making in his hustle, he invested in RZA and Wu-Tang. Wow. He bought RZA all of his production equipment and paid for Wu-Tang studio time. He was like the motherfucking bank of Wu-Tang.
Wow.
In the process, Divine went away to prison.
Okay.
But luckily, all the pieces were already in place and Wu-Tang recorded their first single, Protect Your Neck.
Hell yeah.
So they record the single in 92, and a bunch of them head over to the radio station where the famous Stretch and Bobbito show used to broadcast from. And Bobbito said that he walked outside and was rushed by like 10 dudes who were like, put this on. Oh. He was like, chill, what the fuck, man? So he took it inside to listen, and the first thing he hears are like fucking swords and karate chops and shit. And he's like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
Because no one had ever made music like that before. And then Inspector Deck's verse kicks in and he was blown away. So he put it on the radio and people lost their fucking minds. People were like calling in, what is this?
That's crazy.
Yeah. But then they couldn't get a record deal. Record companies were first hesitant because there were so many of them.
I mean, it's going to get expensive.
Well, they would always bring up like, how are you guys going to split the money? And then the guys would be like, that's fucking our business, you know?
That's true though.
But they banded together and said, we either get signed as a complete group or we don't get signed at all.
That's cool.
A union. Wu-Tang Clan is a union. Collective bargaining.
God damn.
And secondly, RZA was really adamant that he wanted each individual member to be free to individually make deals for their solo work independently.
God damn.
Be that with the label that signed them as a group or whatever label offered each individual the best deal, aka a non-exclusive deal. And that one was a tough sell. One of the A&Rs for Jive that was interviewed in the documentary says that one of the best sells for the record companies of signing a group, say Destiny's Child, is that it means that you're also signing Beyonce.
Ah.
And, you know, that's a 2-for-1 is a hell of a deal.
Yeah. I mean, all those bargain shoppers out there.
Right. So no one wants to give up the rights to the individual members so easily. But RZA had a vision in mind about which record labels he wanted for each member already. Just for instance, in every meeting they went to at every label, all the execs were like, bet the man is a star. It was like the easiest, most obvious call to make.
Right.
So RZA wanted Meth to sign with Def Jam because Def Jam was the commercial hip hop label at the time.
Yeah.
So I won't get super into Def Jam because I know we might have something coming up on that soon. But yeah, RZA knew that having Meth at Def Jam would mean that Meth would have the Def Jam machine behind him, the Def Jam money, connections, promotion, and everything.
Right. It's like, we're all going to do indie shit and you're going to do Batman.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So like the more success that Meth got meant the more success that Wu-Tang would have by association.
Yeah, they'd have the power, but they'd still have the street cred because they wouldn't have all sold out.
Exactly. And similarly, he knew he wanted Elektra Records for Dirty, Jizza at Geffen, Ghost at Sony, and so on, because each label had strengths that could cater to each individual. But he wanted each individual record produced with whatever label to still be under the umbrella of Wu-Tang Productions, of which all the members owned a piece, with RZA as CEO owning the majority. So that was like super revolutionary. And as RZA put it, quote, Wu-Tang was a financial movement. So what you want to diversify your assets.
That's what's
It's so fucking smart. I can't take it.
Yeah, that's crazy smart.
And RCA Records were finally the ones that decided to take the plunge and sign Wu-Tang Clan. And their album Enter the Wu, 36 Chambers, dropped in November of 93 and was an instant classic.
That's fucking crazy.
But that doesn't mean that things magically got better for the members of Wu-Tang.
Right.
Now would be a good time to start going a little bit deeper on ODB. Shout out to Steve Huey's biography of him on allmusic.com for being the best online resource I could find on Dirty. Dirty was a character. Like I mentioned earlier, he was a born entertainer, and when he joined Wu-Tang, RZA sort of outlined the character that he wanted Dirty to play. You know how like in the old kung fu and like samurai movies featuring a clan of fighters like Seven Samurai, each dude played a different character archetype? Like there was the reluctant hero, the outlaw, maybe a quiet one, whatever. RZA wanted to translate that into the characters that each member of Wu-Tang would portray in their rhymes and style. And Dirty's character was sort of like the drunken fighter that often offers like comic relief in those movies.
Right.
But like, where does the character of ODB end and where does the real man begin? Early in 93, so the same year that 36 Chambers was released, Dirty was convicted of second-degree assault on some street shit, which turned out to be his only ever violent conviction.
Oh, wow.
But he had already constantly been in trouble with the law on nonviolent offenses. Just like the other guys, he had a difficult home life growing up. He was one of 6 kids, and his mother, Cherry, had all of them by the time she was 25.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, of course, money was tight, and he was out there hustling just to get by like everybody else. Not to mention, he had to take care of his own kids too, because he started pretty early. I think he started in his mid-teens. I'll get into his kids a little bit later. So when 36 Chambers dropped, it was just in time because he had been on welfare and struggling to take care of his family, and he had just gotten that conviction for assault. But just when he thought his troubles were behind him, in 94, he was shot in the stomach during a fight with another rapper in Brooklyn.
Whoa.
Luckily, he survived and started working on his solo record with RZA. Method Man had already dropped his platinum RZA-produced solo debut to Cal and won a Grammy along the way, so they really needed to keep the momentum going and put out Dirty's album, which was 1995's return to the 36 Chambers, the Dirty version, which featured 2 big hits, Brooklyn Zoo and Shimmy Shimmy Ya, and was the perfect showcase for Dirty's half-rapped, half-sung Rick James influenced style that was so unique to him.
Mm-hmm.
Around the same time, Dirty collabed with Mariah Carey on the song Fantasy, which became a huge mega hit.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mariah Carey.
Yup. So things are looking up for Dirt McGirt. He infamously took MTV cameras along with him in his limousine to pick up his $375 welfare check.
That was so ridiculous.
And to pick up food stamps. This all happened while his album was still in the top 10 on the charts.
Yeah.
He was still eligible for welfare because he hadn't filed his taxes yet for that current year
Right.
after he started making money.
On some scammer shit.
Yep. This incident was heavily pointed to as an example of welfare abuse that led to welfare reform signed into law the next year by President Bill Clinton.
Yeah, it was not a good look.
I can imagine Bill Clinton in the Oval Office watching this video of Dirty.
Just pissed. Yeah. The Wu-Tang Clan strikes again.
Meanwhile, the rest of Wu-Tang continues to drop a string of critically acclaimed solo albums.
That's what's fucking crazy. It's like their album was insane, but then guess what? We got 12 of us.
Yes, and they're
we're
all fucking good.
Yeah, like it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that first wave of solo albums, they're all fucking good. So anticipation is building for their follow-up to 36 Chambers, 1997's Wu-Tang Forever, which was another smash, critically acclaimed #1 hit for the guys. And an associate of theirs, an MC named Capadonna, was released from prison just in time to record for this album and officially became a member of the Wu-Tang Clan. Something sad that happened during the recording of this album while they were still on tour promoting their first album was that U-God's 2-year-old son was caught in some crossfire while his babysitter was walking him to a birthday party at a park. He was shot in the back. He barely survived, and they thought that he might never walk again. But thank goodness that after 4 months at the children's hospital, he regained use of his legs.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah. That's how you can tell, like, they're still, like, in that, they've got money now, but their families and stuff are still where they've been their whole lives. It's not easy to...
Plus, this is, like, still the time of the record label. So, like, they got money, but they don't got money.
That's true. You know? They could probably buy, like, a slightly nicer... They could probably move out of the projects.
Yeah, into, like, the suburbs.
Yeah. Exactly. And there's so fucking many of them.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank goodness that U-God's son recovered. Anyway, this album dropped in June, but in November, things started to get a little weird for Dirty. He was arrested for not paying child support for 3 of his kids for over a year.
Okay.
A weird thing about ODB is that it's hard to say exactly how many kids he had. Several reputable sources put the number as high as 13, but I also see a number as low as 4.
Okay.
But I did see Dirty on video say that he had 6 kids at one point. So it's like,
ooh.
I don't fucking know.
Wow.
And I wish I had more information on why there's such a discrepancy, but I feel like it's as simple as he was just...
He was out and about.
They were on a world tour.
Yeah.
Anyway, he owed $35,000. Then in February of 1998, while Dirty was in a recording studio, he heard a loud crash outside. There was a really bad car accident, and he ran downstairs to see if there was any way he could help. And he was the first one on the scene when he saw a 4-year-old girl trapped under one of the cars.
Oh, no.
He sprang into action and yelled and wrangled as many people as he could to physically lift the car off of that baby and saved her life.
Oh, my God. I got chills.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Raekwon was like, it was like on some superhero shit. Like,
yeah.
He ended up very quietly visiting her in the hospital days later, and I think I read somewhere that he paid the bill.
Oh, but he can't
pay his child support, but like he supported the children though.
Not his own.
The day after that accident at the Grammys, Sean Colvin was on stage about to accept the Grammy of the Year, the Grammy for Song of the Year for Sunny Came Home, a song that came up on this podcast when we talked about Sunny and Klaus von Bülow.
That song won what?
Song of the Year.
It did?
Yeah.
Oh my God. The 90s are so funny.
Anyway, so she was on stage and Dirty rushed the stage and infamously took the mic to talk about how upset he was that Wu-Tang lost the Grammy to Puff Daddy, especially because he bought such an expensive outfit for the event. And that, quote, Wu-Tang is for the children. That became the moment that was splattered across newspapers and TV coverage for that year's Grammys. So Dirty certainly made his mark.
Yeah.
Also, I think that was the start of a feud between Wu-Tang and Puffy and Wu-Tang and Bad Boy in general.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
East on East violent.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Wu-Tang, the industry, continues to grow. When RZA's brother Divine got out of prison, RZA entrusted him with taking over the business side of Wu-Tang so that he could focus on the music.
Nice.
And as it turns out, that just like RZA is a low-key genius visionary, Divine turned out to be a genius businessman too.
Of course he was. He's a hustler.
Mm-hmm. RZA says that under different circumstances, like if Divine would have not been on the streets hustling, or if he would have gone to college instead of going to prison, that he can.
If we didn't live in the land of systematic racism, yes,
yep,
he would be. He was fucking like, Goldman Sachs CEO.
That's what he said. He was like,
oh really?
Yeah, he was like, I could see him being CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
Yes, of course.
Under Divine's leadership, the business side of Wu-Tang became an empire. They, of course, had various record labels under the Wu-Tang umbrella. They had publishing companies, video games. They expanded into fashion with Wu-Wear. And Divine says that at their peak, Wu-Tang, the industry, was raking in $25 to $30 million a year in profit in the late 90s.
That's amazing.
Out of nothing. Out of fucking 8 dudes in a room smoking blunts and rapping.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But then in 1997, some cracks started to form.
You did not say that with a straight face.
First of all, Wu-Tang went on a huge tour with Rage Against the Machine.
That's awesome.
And some of the guys were weary that some of their fans would think that they sold out and were being inauthentic by trying to expand their fan base to that rock, largely white crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I feel like Rage has a diverse fan base. And it probably is mostly white, but
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, Zach De La Rocha's Mexican. Tom Morello's part black.
Yeah.
Like
Tom Morello's so cute. Like when he wears his little hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there was a little bit of a rift during that tour already because of that. But then while they were still on tour, Divine committed them to do a set for Hot 97's Summer Jam, which I think at the time Hot 97 was the second most listened to station in the country.
Okay.
It might still be up there today, maybe even number 1. Anyway, Hot 97 didn't pay artists to perform at Summer Jam because that's just how fucking powerful they were at the time.
That's cool. It's like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. It's exactly like that. And some members of Wu-Tang were salty that they were playing a show to like 40,000 people for free.
Yeah.
Especially when they were currently on a nationwide tour with Rage, which, as you can imagine, was probably exhausting.
Right.
So during their performance, Ghostface got on the mic and said, "Fuck Hot 97."
Oh, no.
And then he got the whole crowd to chant, "Fuck Hot 97."
Oh, no. Take it back.
At, once again, Hot 97's own fucking event. Obviously, the powers that be at Hot 97 were livid. And from then on, they kind of blacklisted Wu-Tang and wouldn't play their music.
Ooh,
which
that's a big L.
Huge. Because as you can imagine, not getting radio play in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's a wrap. Where else did you listen to music?
Nowhere. Yeah. There was no internet.
And Divine says that this majorly affected their record sales and obviously the money that was coming in from there on out. And on top of everything, after Summer Jam, some of the guys refused to get back on the road to finish the tour with Rage. So they had to drop out of the last leg of the tour, which again affected their bag. And was just a bad look because then concert promoters would obviously be weary about working with them in the future. Divine was like, all we had to do was finish that fucking tour. Like,
seriously. And
then he says the next time they went out on tour, the plan was to charge more and like just be the sole headliner, you know?
Right.
But
yeah,
it got fucked up.
It's too many people.
It's way too many people. That's been the problem.
Yeah.
Method Man says that he sees this as about the time Wu-Tang became more so a bunch of solo artists trying to be a group and that they were less hungry. So it just became a job to them instead of just like kicking it with their boys before, having fun before.
Right.
Divine says the dudes were like, I need my solo album to come out now. We need to work on my album now. And he'd be like, yeah, we'll get to your album, but first we need to finish working on this person's album. And you need to record your verse for that person's album so we can get that out and then work on yours. So that whoever needs to contribute to yours, can get to
is
do
free
that.
To do so or whatever. Yeah.
But God says that, for instance, he was at the end of the line for some reason.
Ooh.
And meanwhile, the dudes that are in front of him are getting paid and working. And he's like, well, what about me? I got to eat too,
Right. Yeah.
And he's just sitting around waiting for his turn. So he's like, it's not working out. Like the system that they put in place just wasn't working anymore.
Right.
Now
You Got is kind of like the least successful.
he is
too,
yes, I always forget that he's in Wu-Tang.
I mean, if they didn't say it in the beginning of METHOZ Man, I probably would too.
He actually, it's so sweet because he wrote a book, and I think in like the New York Times review or something, it got a positive review, and it
good.
said something like, "Oh, the least loved member of Wu-Tang, You Got, wrote a touching autobiography," and I was like, "Damn, why'd you have to do that?"
I know. Oh, that was some drama we didn't talk about.
The New York Times.
Yeah. Ugh. We'll save it.
Okay, so now back to what's going on with ODB. He's working on his second solo album, but in April of '98, he assaulted his wife, Iseline Jones. He pled guilty, and she took out a restraining order against him. And while he's dealing with this personal and legal drama, the next month, he has a warrant issued for his arrest because he continues to not pay his child support. And he keeps missing the court dates related to this issue. Then, the next month, he was at his girlfriend's house when some people forced their way in, shot him in the stomach, and robbed the whole apartment, taking money and jewelry and other items.
Wow.
The bullet entered his trunk area, missing all vital organs, went into his arm, and ultimately exited from there. He took himself to the hospital where when they realized the bullet just went like clean through him, they closed up the wounds and they're like, okay, you could go.
Ooh, that's best case scenario right
I'm
there.
saying. So he walked out that night. He didn't even spend the night. Then 1 week later, Dirty was arrested in Virginia Beach for shoplifting after he walked out wearing a $50 pair of sneakers.
So Dirty's a drug addict at this point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't get into it. But...
Yeah, he's total drug addict. I think crack is his problem.
And probably like alcohol and weed.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Meanwhile, he was working on solo and side projects in anticipation of going on tour and just ignored all of his court dates in Virginia Beach, which obviously led to a warrant for his arrest. But Dirty didn't give a fuck. He was going back to Virginia Beach when he was good and ready, which was never. In September, he was at a concert here in LA at the House of Blues to see Desiree of You Gotta Be Bad, You Gotta Be Bold, You Gotta Be Wiser fame.
Okay.
One of my all-time favorite songs. That's a TJ Maxx jam if I've ever heard one.
That is a TJ Maxx jam. What the fuck?
That song will play at TJ Maxx every time you set foot in the building, whether it's 1998 or 3008.
Yes. That song is amazing.
So Dirty is at this Desiree show being belligerent and doing the most, and
oh my god,
and the bouncers kick him out.
Oh no.
First of all, imagine being that hype at a Desiree show.
I know, like what?
How lit do you have to be to get kicked out of a show for like music that's played at aquariums? Like it's ridiculous. So then Dirty comes back and threatened to shoot the security staff.
Holy shit.
Which at least here in California is a felony, I believe, but I could be wrong.
I'm sure it is.
Not that it's a felony, that the charge is making terrorist threats.
Terrorist threats, yeah.
But also Dirty doesn't carry a gun, so he's just fucking talking.
He's just talking out of his ass, yeah.
Anyway, so Dirty's taken into custody, but quickly posts bail, which I'm low-key shocked about because there's still that outstanding warrant for his arrest back in Virginia Beach.
Right.
But as soon as he posts bail, he takes off for Europe, where he was kicked out of his Berlin hotel less than 2 weeks later for insisting on being nude on his balcony.
Okay.
After this, he flies back to Los Angeles the next month and is quickly arrested again after threatening to kill one of his baby mamas.
Oh, so he's just living fast.
Yeah. Oof. And he's wild in what he says.
Probably like, without the drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's like who they want him to play.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And
so now he's like, all drugged up.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, you want me to be this clown? Like, I'll be a fucking clown, you know? So now he's got these 2 charges in LA related to threats, and he pleads not guilty to both and takes off back to New York in January of 1999. Here's a very important event in the life of ODB. So he's back in New York, right? And he's driving with one of his cousins when they're pulled over for a traffic violation.
Okay.
The police claim that Dirty rolled down the window and started firing a gun at them.
Ooh.
So they returned fire at him. While the cops were shooting at his car, he was on his phone with his mom, and she advised him not to stop and to just drive and keep driving straight to the police station, which he did.
Well,
luckily, neither he nor his cousin were hit by the police, but he was ultimately arrested and charged with attempted murder and criminal possession of a firearm.
wow.
But get this. The police never found or produced a weapon, bullets, or shells, or any evidence at all that Dirty or his cousin had a gun.
But it's the police's word over this guy who's been arrested 4 times in the last 2 minutes. So
yeah. And Dirty actually said, this is when he said that he doesn't like guns. He doesn't like carrying a gun.
yeah,
So
it doesn't make sense.
Right. It doesn't make sense for him to, and like they would have found they would have found shells in the car or something. He didn't have a gun, but he allegedly was shooting at them. No. Anyway, but what he did wear was a bulletproof vest for protection. That was his protection since he didn't like guns.
Okay.
More on that in a minute. A grand jury did not find enough evidence to bring this case to trial, and it was ultimately dismissed.
Good.
Nothing seems to have happened to the police who claimed he shot at them with an invisible gun, though.
Of course not. But
But I don't think we need to say too much more on that. Besides,
they got promoted.
Yeah. So let's defund the police. Dirty did bring a lawsuit against the city and the arresting officers, though, and understandably wanted to get away from New York for a little bit, and he flew back to LA. In LA, he got rolled up on by the police for being double parked. And when he was searched, they discovered that he was wearing a bulletproof vest. In California, it had recently become illegal for convicted felons to wear body armor, and he was arrested.
What? Why?
No idea. And
What is that for? Who does that protect?
yeah, I
Or
know.
What purpose does that serve?
I
mean, I guess it could be seen as like propaganda, but
or maybe
ooh,
like
I'm having trouble here.
or it like maybe encourages you to like it bolsters violence or something. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't
Like,
make any
maybe
sense.
it's like propaganda. Like, where do you buy a bulletproof vest? Let's think about that.
And what are
Like,
you doing where you need a bulletproof vest? I think
right?
is the
So
thing.
that's but still,
It's ridiculous.
it's so ridiculous.
And like Dirty, he's wearing a bulletproof vest because he doesn't like guns. So that's like how he's protecting himself.
right.
So anyway, he's arrested. His arrest was actually literally the first arrest in the state for breaking that law.
I was gonna say
So,
fucking bullshit.
once again, he was a pioneer.
Yeah.
Once he pays bail in March, he heads back to New York where he got pulled over again and they found some crack on him.
Oh fuck. Well, this one, okay.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I don't know. Did they sprinkle some crack on him?
That's true.
Not that they needed to. He probably had it on him anyway.
I know, yeah.
5 days later, he got pulled over again.
Wait, so what happened with the crack charge? They just let him go?
Yeah, they arrested him, booked him, paid bail, got out. And 5 days
Okay.
later, he got pulled over again.
I'm surprised he's getting bail with all these charges. Like, you would think a judge would be like, I'm not going to give you bail because clearly.
Well, like the first one was like the $50 shoplifting thing.
Right.
And then the other ones were like threats, you know?
Right.
So like this one, when we get to this one, this is the time I'm like, damn, how did he get out? Because this was drugs and he's black.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
But I think he has enough money, even if they set the bail to be like something astronomical. Like,
But they could just set no bail. They
Yeah.
could just be like, we're not going to give him bail
Right.
because clearly he's going out there and just breaking
do
the law.
whatever. Yeah, it's true. So 5 days later, he gets pulled over again. But notice how many times he's getting pulled over. Like they're
That's true.
clearly,
I mean, yeah.
they're targeting him.
Yeah. Also, let's remember what ODB looks like.
Yes. Yeah. So he gets pulled over again, and he was caught driving on a suspended license charge.
That's bullshit.
In July, back in LA, he was locked up for owing bail money from the Desiree incident.
Oh, I forgot about that. You gotta be bold.
He was basically broke at this point because I've literally lost track of how many times he's been arrested.
Seriously, that's expensive. Your fucking bail financial fund is like,
Yeah.
that's like most of your fucking, what is that called?
Royalties?
No, not royalties. What is that called when you make a budget?
Yeah.
How much is in his budget for like bail?
Set aside. This is for child support. This is for food, gas,
drinks,
bail.
bail. That shit's crazy.
So between needing to post bail, fines, and legal fees, he's in deep financial shit.
Yeah.
Somehow he was able to scrounge up some cash to pay the bail he owed in LA, and he went back to New York, where a few days later he ran a red light and was pulled over with marijuana and 20 vials of crack on him.
Oh, wow. What is a vial of crack? Is that like one hit?
If I knew the answer to that,
I mean, this would be a different podcast.
No, I have no idea. It's
a vial of crack too? It's like this?
Yeah, and I think like there
what
are...
does crack look like?
Rocks, right? Crack rock.
Crack rock, right.
Mm-hmm.
So then
there's like a rock
heroin?
in there.
You melt it and shit?
No, because
should we not be talking about this?
No, because I mean, it doesn't matter. But I think you put the
Oh, you smoke it.
You smoke
right.
it. You smoking crack.
You smoke the rock. Yeah. This is insane.
So back in jail, and again, just barely able to scrounge up some cash to post bail, he got out, but not in time to head back to LA for a court date related to the bulletproof vest arrest.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge issued a warrant for his arrest. In August, he checked into rehab.
Okay, well, that's good.
And meanwhile, all the shit he was getting himself into, remember I mentioned that he was working on his second solo album, which dropped in September while he was in rehab, called Ninja Please, but not really Ninja. And he had a hit with the bop featuring Khalees, Gotcha Money.
Hey, dirty. That's a bop.
Yep.
Forever bop.
Shout out to Khalees.
Yeah, seriously.
In November, he got sentenced to 1 year in rehab and 3 years on probation for his California cases.
Oh, that's good, actually.
That's really, I was like pleasantly surprised.
I actually always like, I like the drug court judges most of the time, because a lot of the time they always like, will talk to them.
Yeah.
And be like, what do you want? Like,
give them a lecture. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, I want to get clean. And then like, okay, well, fuck, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Robert Downey Jr. thing, like where he got like so many chances and so many lectures. Okay, so at least like his California cases got cleaned up and taken care of, I guess. But he still had drug cases pending in New York. And in January 2000, during a hearing, he called the DA a sperm donor.
Ooh, okay.
And literally...
Is that an insult?
Well, she was a woman. So... So I don't, well, that makes sense because he had like 13 kids. I don't know if he knew how babies were made. So.
That's true though.
And he, during the hearing still, he literally fell asleep. So chances are that going forward, those cases were not going to go well for him.
Yeah.
Because he's just disrespecting the court.
Yeah. It's like, ooh.
After that hearing, he got drunk.
I can't imagine someone falling asleep. That's amazing. I would be so fucking mad if I was your lawyer.
Yeah.
I would fucking hit you in the face.
Or if you're the judge, then you have to bang the gavel. I would bang the gavel right next to his ass. Anyway, so after that hearing, he got drunk in violation of his probation, which should have sent him to prison. But then the judge was lenient and just tacked an extra 6 months to his rehab sentence.
Well, that's good.
But then in October 2000, with just 2 months to go in his sentence, he escaped rehab and went on the run.
On some Kurt Cobain shit.
Mm-hmm. While he was a fugitive, he secretly recorded material with the RZA and even performed with Wu-Tang at the November release party for Wu-Tang's third album, The W, which the guys dedicated to him.
Oh.
The video of that is wild because they're like, it was the first time in 3 years, because Dirty had been in trouble, that they were all on stage at the same time.
Right.
And so Dirty comes out on stage and he's like, I'm just happy to be here, but I got to slip out the back because the cops are waiting for me, because they were waiting for him. But
man.
But he somehow was able to slip away. A few days after the party, the police finally captured him in the parking lot of a McDonald's in Philly, where he was signing autographs for a large crowd of fans.
Oh, man.
The story behind that is that the manager of the McDonald's called the cops because he saw like a huge crowd of people in the parking lot. He didn't even know what was going on.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh, can you guys come check out what's going on in the parking lot?" And then they found Dirty signing autographs. So while still in jail in April of 2001, Dirty cut a deal. They dropped all the other charges against him in exchange for a guilty plea on the drug charges. And he got sentenced to the minimum 2 to 4 years with credit for the 8 months of time served. So finally, after getting so many chances, his luck ran out and he was going to serve real time.
Right.
And jail wasn't a good place for Dirty. I mean, clearly he's an addict. And what's kind of unspoken is that he also had some mental illness issues. I've seen some reports that during psych evals in prison, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia and or bipolar disorder.
Oh, that's awful.
And on top of that, he's using drugs.
Drugs are making it worse.
Yeah. So
people who use drugs for too long, you're never the same.
I know. You're like permanently fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what Dirty really needed was help, but it's hard to say what help would have looked like for him.
Right.
Like what he escaped the rehab, and I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, in prison, he was put on suicide watch, and at one point he was assaulted and suffered a broken leg. RZA says that he was suffering so much that at one point he asked him to break him out.
Oh no.
Yeah. And RZA was
That's gotta be heartbreaking.
RZA was like, I considered it, because he was like in pain, and it's like, what do you,
yeah.
how do you help him?
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah. And he is like, when you hear him talk, it's weird because there's almost I'm talking about Dirty at this point. There's almost like an innocence to him. Like
right.
It would take a little bit of innocence to ask someone to help break me out of prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really sad. Meanwhile, the members of Wu-Tang went out of their contracts with Wu-Tang Productions.
Uh-oh.
Divine says that he didn't like the idea of releasing everyone, but RZA says that he didn't like the idea of forcing his brothers to stay there if that's what they didn't want, because they were family. So he was like, I'm not going to keep my brothers in slavery.
Right.
So according to RZA, on some kumbaya shit, he released every single one of them, except for ODB because he was in prison.
Right.
But if you ask some of the other guys, they say it wasn't that clean and it wasn't that easy for RZA to ultimately release them. I'm talking about You God. That was You God who said that. In 2003, Dirty was released from jail and he was broke and needed to get back to work again. RZA says that he was ready to get back to work and to help him get on his feet. And GZA says that he had already written a few songs for him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because they wrote his songs for him, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Dirty,
and that's our cousin.
That's our cousin, yes.
Mind you forget, yeah.
Yeah, so they wrote the songs for him, but he put his flavor on it, like
okay. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so he was doing like the singy song shit with that. Like nobody else could have done that. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, it seems like all his friends, like the guys, were nervous about him jumping back to work too quickly.
Yeah, because it's kind of like what you said, like what treatment does he need? What is rehab for ODB?
Yeah.
Do you want to jump right back into that world where he's making money and then inevitably leads to large scale mistakes?
Yeah, exactly. But Dirty's mom says that what they didn't understand was that Dirty had to get back to work immediately because if he didn't pay child support, he'd get locked up again.
Ooh, okay.
But because he was still under contract with Wu-Tang Productions, he couldn't get back to work unless RZA signed off. And then Dame Dash came a knocking. And wanted to sign him to Rockefeller Records.
Ooh, and this is 2003?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Actually, 2003. Dirty demanded to be released. which RZA says really hurt him because they were literally fucking family.
Yeah.
So in his mind, he was like, what makes you think that fucking Dame Dash is going to take care of you like your own cousin?
Yeah, of course not.
But
It's just literally a clout decision.
yes. And also,
that's fucked up.
Dame Dash we could do an episode on him, but
Oh yeah, we should.
Yeah, we should. This is
Or
like
on Rockefeller at least.
Yes, because this is at the time where things are starting to go bad at Rockefeller.
Between Che and Dan. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so RZA's mad, like hurt. Not mad, he's hurt. But at the same time, Dirty has a point because he's like, why are you treating me like I belong to you when you let every single last one of the other dudes out their contracts like it was nothing?
Because it's different. We're family.
Yeah.
It's fucking different.
Yeah. So ultimately, RZA signed off so that he could sign with The Rock.
Wow.
But RZA still ghost wrote for him and stuff to try to help him out to like, all right, let's do it then. Let's get,
Yeah.
In 2004, while working on his Rockefeller debut, Dirty collapsed in the recording studio after suffering a drug overdose and died 2 days shy of his 36th birthday. ODB is considered one of the most entertaining rappers ever and heavily influenced the careers of a lot of younger hip-hop acts like Odd Future and...
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's who reminds me of the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there would be no... what's that kid's name?
Tyler, the Creator.
If it wasn't for ODB.
Mm-hmm. Such a sad story. And
it's a really sad story.
And unlike, I think sometimes when we have sad stories like that, I try to think like, oh, things could have been different if this happened, or if this happened, or if this happened. But I don't see how we don't end up in the same place with him. And that's really sad.
Yeah, me either. Because the alternative would be, what? He gets diagnosed early for whatever mental health problems he is. He gets put on the type of medication that would completely derail his creative energy.
Yeah.
He's not a part of Wu-Tang, and he's not the ODB that we know.
Yeah.
And Wu-Tang isn't the Wu-Tang that we know. So
right.
Yeah.
It's weird. So with ODB gone, what happened to Wu-Tang? Well, last week...
Tune in next week. No, I'm just kidding.
Last we checked, RZA signed away his rights to $40 million worth of artists a year. Divine says that it was the dumbest decision in all of hip-hop. And that in one fell swoop, just as an executive at Wu-Tang Productions, he himself lost $10 million out of his pocket in comparison to the year before.
Wow.
And what you have to remember is that, yes, these guys are business partners, but they're also like family.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it was the best decision for the family to let everyone go their own way if that was going to allow them to maintain that family relationship and to keep Wu-Tang Clan, the group, together.
Right. Because you don't ever want them to get to a place where they hate each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So at least this, and then that's cool too, because like I guess like if they go on their solo things and it doesn't work out, they're not gonna blame RZA.
Yep.
And like Wu-Tang Productions or whatever, where that would have happened if they would have stayed on and fell off.
Right. So of course they continue to drop music as a group and as individuals and in different combinations of trios, quartets, and so forth. They were embroiled in some controversy in 2014 when their album Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, of which a single copy was produced, sold at auction for $2 million to Pharma Bro piece of trash Martin Shkreli.
Yeah, he's on our list.
Apparently, this album features Cher, which is amazing. Anyway, in the documentary, this is a tense subject in a way that's kind of like, they've been through, this is towards the end of the documentary, and they've been through so much in their lives already, and the whole time, like for all 3 hours before, they're just like everything is happy, and like
they're just talking about it,
and then like there's a shift in the tone and how everyone starts talking.
Interesting.
The album was produced by one of RZA's proteges, Silva Rings, and he and RZA came up with the concept of producing a single copy of the album. According to the rest of the members of Wu-Tang, neither RZA nor Silva Rings told them the plan for this album that they were contributing to, or even told them that this was a Wu-Tang album.
Ooh.
They say that they thought they were contributing to whatever project Silva Rings was working on, kind of as a favor to RZA, because that was RZA's boy.
Ooh.
So they were like, had we known this was a Wu-Tang record, first of all, we would have charged more. Second,
it would have been different. Yeah,
exactly. So next thing they know, this album comes out and there's this circus around it.
Right.
So now they're like, man, we look like fucking clowns.
Yes. Ugh. The whole thing was weird.
Yep.
It was weird when they said they were going to do it. And then when Martin started like becoming the one that was going to obviously get the album, it was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. It brought them a lot of attention that but it wasn't the right kind of attention.
Right.
But RZA says that like that was a year that they made more money than like in the last like 10 years combined. Not only because of the $2 million sale, but also because they were in the news. So then people started
buying their stuff again.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Interesting. But
when was this?
There was
kind of like a revival of like Wu-Tang.
Mm-hmm.
Back when we were in college.
Yeah, that's right.
People started wearing Wu-Tang shirts again. And,
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. The shirt, the logo, the Wu-Tang logo. RZA says that he paid this dude, a tagger, $400 to design it back in the day. And he says, that was a lot of money for me. He was like, that's half my rent.
That's true, actually, yeah.
And he says that this dude was just like, okay, he did it in like 5 minutes. And now it's like one of the most recognizable and profitable logos on Earth.
Yeah. And the fact that it's connected to a hip hop group is just...
It's amazing. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So then... he's like the dude, I wish I remembered the dude who did it, but he was like, yeah, that was one of the dumbest decisions I ever made.
Oh, that sucks. You don't know, like the guy that made the Nike swoosh, same thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They paid him something like $1,000 and he's like, oh fuck.
Anyway, yeah, so there's the circus around this album, and not only that, but they all say that the album is trash.
Oh, okay.
All the guys that heard it, they're like, this album is trash. And it's not they don't consider it a real Wu-Tang album. This is really awkward when you see them talk about it because you can tell how mad they are at RZA for this.
Right.
Like I said,
That's
like they're
shady.
all like staring at him when they talk about it, and he's awkwardly sort of like, yeah. Their latest album dropped in October 2017 and is called The Saga Continues. It features every member except for You God, and as a result is credited technically as Wu-Tang for the record, as opposed to the Wu-Tang Clan. You God sued them for $2 million in back royalties.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened to that lawsuit, but in the documentary, which was like after this lawsuit, they all seem fine with each other.
Okay, cool.
I think that back when they were all released from their contract and they made that decision that like business was business and like this wasn't going to affect how they interact as family anymore.
Well, that's cool. I also think they're just smart and they know that the public wants to see them all together, so maybe they'll just show face.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But it's because how could it not affect? I know it's easy to say, oh, business is business and family is family, but like
I hate when people say that.
It's blurry.
Business is personal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not personal to you. But...
but they seem to actually be able to compartmentalize, which is amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Lesser men cannot.
Right.
Or bigger men cannot, I should say.
I guess it's true what they say. The Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Protect your neck.
Hell yeah.
And that's the story of Wu-Tang.
Nice. Good job, May.
I just wanted to throw a real quick thing in here. Did you know that Ghostface broke Mace's jaw because they had beef?
No, why? Mace?
What? Because remember I said they had drama with Bad Boy.
Puffy and Bad Boy? Yeah.
Apparently this is common knowledge, and Kanye does talk about it on Through the Wire.
What? What does he say?
He says like something about this is how Mace
now I know how Mace felt.
Yeah. But I never realized that was what he was talking about.
Yeah, me either.
Ghost and Raekwon, I guess, have beef with everybody.
Okay.
Like, everybody. Method Man talks about how he doesn't have beef with anyone personally, but he has to end up having beef with so many people because Ghost and Ray don't fuck with anybody. They hate everybody.
Ghost seems hella like mob-like to me.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I know that the FBI had a file on Wu-Tang. They were trying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were trying to say that they were RICO charges, that they were a mob.
God damn. I mean, I guess there's enough of them.
You know, it's funny that, not to put too much of my business out there, but when I was writing this, I got a message from my ex-boyfriend who was like, our dog died and his name is George. So I was like, I sent him a bunch of pictures of George, and I was like,
Aw.
I'll play. We named him after George Harrison, so I was like, I'm gonna play "While My Guitar Gently Weeps" in his honor today. And then he sent me a message that said, "Oh, I'll play the Wu-Tang version." I was like, "You're not gonna believe what I'm doing right this fucking second."
No, that's cool. People like Wu-Tang a lot.
Yeah, he did.
And like that whole New York hip hop scene, like you.
So if you listen.
I heard the disgust in your agreement at that.
No, there was no disgust. No, I was just gonna say, if you guys wanted to listen to the Wu-Tang version of "While My Guitar Gently Weeps" featuring Erykah Badu, do it in honor of my dog George. Rest in peace, Georgie.
R.I.P. Georgie. I remember when that Wu-Tang Beatles album dropped. That was so fucking good.
I listened to it. It's still in regular rotation.
I haven't listened to that in forever.
I was listening to it like 2 weeks ago. It's so fucking good. The cream is like an amazing, and then they have the I'll never give you my money.
Yeah. That's the good one.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the one I remember the most.
Yeah, the shit's. I think it's called Beatles versus Shaolin, or Wu-Tang versus I don't know what it's called.
Is it on Apple Music, the Beatles Wu-Tang album?
No, it's not, but it's a free download.
Oh, okay.
It's on like Bandcamp or something.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. That's it, mate?
That's it, yeah.
I'm sorry. I got all into finding that album that I totally forgot. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. That's this week's episode. Hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at Drama Club Pod and on the website dramaclubpod.com.
On the hotline, 505-539-0556. Send us a postcard to our P.O. Box. P.O. Box number 27433 LACA 90027. Leave us a tip on our website. Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts.
Also that.
And we'll talk to you on Thursday with a brand new Afternoon Delight episode. Protect your neck.
Bye.
Bye.
However, whatever with your helmet.